It feels really weird sitting in front of a camera because it's been quite a while, and you know, ever since becoming a mom, life just gets busy and I just don't have the time like I used to anymore to do the things that I would like to do. If you are new, welcome to my channel. And I just want to share that I am pregnant again with our second baby. We are having another girl. We did a gender reveal at the beginning of August, so it's been like a month already. And yeah, we are having another baby. It's kind of crazy to think because, you know, my daughter just turned 1 in April, and obviously this was not planned. It was really unexpected. We knew we wanted to have another baby, but we wanted to wait until after she was 1. But I found out I was pregnant literally like 2 to 3 weeks before her first birthday. So I'm excited for Mavis to have a little sister, a best friend, because there are days where I am not able to play with her as much as I want to. So knowing that she's gonna have a little sister to help occupy her time when I can't play with her makes me feel a little bit better, so that way she doesn't feel like alone. I am 31 weeks and 5 days, I think. It's very true what they say, when you're pregnant the second time around, it just goes a lot faster because obviously you're occupied with so many things, and I just feel like I haven't really been able to just soak in this pregnancy. And also I haven't been able to take as many belly pictures as I did with Mavis, which I was doing like every single week. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with my life right now. Just been dealing with life and adjusting, and yeah, I just don't have the time to sit down and edit videos like how I used to anymore. My daughter just wants to touch the laptop whenever I like turn it on. I'm really hoping that when I go back on maternity leave that I'm able to spend some extra time to just get some things done and kind of get back into the flow of like vlogging and editing and uploading videos, because honestly I miss it so much. I feel like this is the only thing I do for myself that makes me feel very accomplished, because at the end of the day it's memories that I get to look back on and I can share it with my friends and families. Anyway, enough with that. I just want to do a little bit of pregnancy update. I did have my growth ultrasound yesterday. My daughter is measuring at 3.5 pounds. I was a little worried that she was going to be bigger than her sister because the first appointment I had, she was in like the 11th percentile, so she was pretty small. And then the second one I had, when I did my echo ultrasound for her heart, when they just monitor and do more photos and ultrasound of her heart to make sure that everything is good, she was 2.2 pounds. So she jumped up quite a bit from her very first appointment when I went in to go see the maternal fetal medicine. I saw my doctor today, and my doctor thinks that she's gonna be a lot smaller than her sister. If not, then maybe just roughly around the same weight. And again, I do have gestational diabetes. Again, I did feel my postpartum, so I have been testing ever since my first trimester. I opt out on all the glucose tests because there's really no point. It's a test that I can never pass, so I opt out to not do it. And I tested my fingers for a week and my fastings were high. I started seeing the specialist, and I've been on insulin ever since my first trimester. And this time I'm not poking my fingers. I'm actually using a sensor to keep track of my sugars, and it's much easier this time around as far as like tracking, because I don't have to write down my numbers or anything like that, or what I'm eating. I'm able to just share my data with my doctor, so they're able to just look at the overall look of what my sugars are actually like throughout the day and throughout the night, to kind of make sure that everything's where it needs to be. It just gives them a better overall look of how my sugars are actually doing, because when I first started using the sensor and I was still checking my blood sugar on my finger, the numbers were really different. So I was a little bit worried because the numbers on the sensor were looking good, but the finger pokes were not. So I was a little worried that it wasn't accurate, and my pharmacist reassured me that, you know, the glucose monitor is a lot more accurate because your blood sugar is constantly changing, and when you're taking a sample on your finger, just think of it like the ocean. Doesn't matter how many times you take a cup to like scoop up water, it's gonna be ocean water, but it's not gonna be the same water that you just had. So that's how she explained it, and it makes a lot of sense, honestly, because even with the glucose monitor, like sometimes when I eat stuff, like after an hour my sugar is good, and then within like 30 minutes or so, like it can go back up. So sometimes when I'm doing like those finger pokes, I might just be lucky and be getting a finger poke when my sugar is actually lower versus high. So yeah, it's really crazy. And the one that I'm using is a Freestyle 3 Libre. This one was a lot cheaper through my insurance, and now that I hit my deductible, it's like $26, but it was like $67 or $69 for two a month, because they last 14 days. You change it out every 14 days. So yeah, having this has been a lifesaver, and it just helps relieve the stress from having to like write everything down, because it's a lot of work. And the day I found out that I had to start poking my fingers and I was calculating to my due date, that's 800 finger pokes, and that's a lot. That's a lot of needles. That's a lot of test strips. And anybody who is diabetic or has GD, you guys understand the stress that we go through, just, you know, monitoring and writing everything down. Like, it's a lot of work. To other people it might sound kind of just like, oh, it's whatever, but when you are the person who has to do it, it's a lot. So yeah, having a sensor has been so helpful. And I alternate my arms. I have my husband put it on me. Maybe I'll show you guys what it looks like when I have to change out my sensor, just so that if you're new to, like, you know, being a first-time mom and you have GD, or you're just curious, that way you know. And the reason why I didn't do a sensor in my last pregnancy was because I had like 2 to 3 months left, and I wasn't gonna pay $200 for it, because again, it's expensive and my insurance doesn't cover the whole entire thing. So I have co-pays. Spending $200 at the very end of my last trimester was not something that I was gonna do, because I already had to pay for my insulin. I'm not using Levemir anymore because that's gonna be going away pretty soon. So I'm on Toujeo, and injecting insulin this time around has been very difficult because Toujeo is a lot more acidic, so it burns more. And I don't know if my belly is just a lot more sensitive now or what, but I have certain days where I'm like injecting it, and it just literally feels like a bee sting from the minute I poke myself with a needle and I'm like injecting the insulin. Like, you could just feel it burn. So it hasn't been very pleasant with insulin. There are some nights where I like will find a spot where I inject the needle and it doesn't hurt. So it's really just a guessing game on hoping that I can poke myself in an area where I know it's not gonna hurt. But yeah, it literally feels like a bee sting. Every time my husband watches me injecting insulin, he's just like, that looks like it hurts. I'm like, yeah, it does. And I'm just like, do you want to try it? Because I'll poke you. I did talk to the pharmacist today because my night numbers are looking good, but my morning numbers are looking a little wonky. I am going to be doing 10 units in the morning. I already know that it's going to be increased eventually because my body is just really insulin resistant, and it's just hard. Like, it's not easy, and it's the closer you get towards the end of your pregnancy, the more insulin resistant you become, and you're literally just trying to correct those numbers. So yeah, so starting tomorrow I will be doing 10 units in the morning, and I'm doing 36 units at night. So that's just kind of been like my whole entire journey on my second pregnancy. Obviously I haven't recorded or, you know, done any like updates throughout my whole entire pregnancy, just because I don't have the time to, and I'm always very tired. I was really exhausted like the beginning of my first trimester, and I just had a lot of like morning sickness. Like, I always felt like I needed to puke. Like, I just felt really nauseous. And then in my second trimester I had like a lot of like physical pain down there. Her head was so close into my hip bone that like it hurt to walk. And I had my growth ultrasound yesterday, so she's more head down towards my pelvic. Her butt's up here and her legs are to my left side because she kicks a lot over on this side. So every time when I move in bed, like my pelvic bone, it pops, and it never did that. Like, I had no physical pain with Mavis when I had her during my first pregnancy. Like, everything was smooth, everything was easy, but the second time I feel just so much more physical pain, and my back aches. Like, I could just feel the weight of my belly being heavy, and it just takes a toll on your body. My daughter woke up, so I had to go get her. She was literally hanging on the side of the bed. Now that she's getting older, she's been trying to like get off the bed, but she's still too small. Yeah, mommy's camera. And she looks a bit crusty right now. Don't mind her. Yesterday I was looking at her and I was talking to my husband, like, I can't believe that she's not gonna be the only baby left. And I love spending time with her and just doing things with her, and I'm really mourning like the time I have left with her of just being us, because I know 2 kids it's gonna be a lot harder, and me having to split my time between the both of them, especially because I am planning on nursing my second one as well. Hopefully my supply is okay. It's just a thought knowing that she's no longer my only baby, even though she's so small and she still needs me so much, and it just makes me really sad. But at the same time, I know that it'll be good for her to have a sister, and they'll be 19 months apart. I'm very excited for her to have a best friend and to have someone to do things with. I know they're gonna be catty at times because, you know, they're girls obviously, but just knowing that they're gonna have each other for the rest of their life, and knowing that she's not gonna be alone when I'm no longer here, is just gives me a peace of mind that they'll be okay. But yeah, I think that's all I want to update on. Sorry if it was a lot of like gibberish. And he said bye. Come here. She gonna say bye. Say bye.